Okay, so now we're going to look at number 2. It gives you a combustion equation that's already balanced. We're going to do A and D. So for A, you start with the number that they give you, which is 109 grams of C5H12. So that's the value that we write down to start. So we have 109 grams of C5H12. And we do our times goes into, we drop grams down, and we're going to moles. Now this is grams of C5H12, and this is moles of C5H12, okay? This is going to be 1. Now to find the gram amount, we have to find the molar mass. So off here on the side, we're going to do that calculation. So I have carbon and I have hydrogen, okay? My carbon mass is 12.01. My hydrogens is 1.01. Okay, now for carbons I have 5 of them, and for hydrogens I have 12. So 12 times 5, or 12.01 times 5 is 60.05. And 12 times 1.01 is 12.12. Okay, so you just add those two values up and you get 72.17. So we can plug that in right there, 72.17. Okay? So now my labels cancel. I'm left with moles of C5H12. That's not exactly what I want. So I got to do another times goes into. I drop my moles of C5H12 down. Okay, and I'm going to moles of O2. So that's what I put up top, moles of O2, and you can see these labels cancel out. Now anytime you have moles over moles, you want to look in the equation and look at the coefficients. So I have an 8 for O2, so I put an 8 right here. For C5H12 I have nothing, so that means it's a 1. Okay, and then you just punch this in your calculator and you solve. Okay, so now for D, D has a different value that you start with. It's 9.2 liters of oxygen. So that's the value that we start with. So we write that down, 9.2 liters of oxygen. Okay, now oxygen is of course O2. So we do our times goes into, we drop liters of oxygen down. And we, on the top we have moles of oxygen. Okay, our conversion for moles to liters is 1 mole equals 22.4 liters. Okay, so my liters of O2 cancels out. I'm left with moles of O2. Now I need to get to volume of CO2. So I don't have that, so I have to do another times goes into. I drop my moles of O2 down. Okay, now this is supposed to represent my mole bridge because I'm going from moles of O2 and I want to go to CO2, so I have to cross my mole bridge right here. Okay, now again, when you have mole over mole, you need to look at your equation and find the coefficients. So for CO2, it's 5. And then for O2, it's 8. Okay, my moles of O2 cancel out. I'm left with moles of CO2, but I need to get to volume of CO2. So I do a times goes into, I drop moles down, moles of CO2. I want to go to volume, which is liters of CO2. And it's the same conversion as before. It's the same conversion right here. It's 1 mole of CO2 equals 22.4 liters of CO2. My labels cancel out. The only label I'm left with is the one that I'm going to, which is volume of CO2, and you just do your math from there and solve.